KEYSHAWN Davis defeats Nair Albright via unanimous decision, dominance, and Brian Norman Jr. comes back and defeats Josh Wagner via second round stoppage. And yeah, we'll start off talking about the KEYSHAWN Davis Albright fight. It was dominant. He basically won every single round, KEYSHAWN, after the round 7 where he lost 2 points, just slamming Albright down onto the canvas. Overall, I thought it was a really good performance from KEYSHAWN Davis. I feel like box smart, landed some good, solid, vicious shots on him. He was starting to push the pace a bit. I think he definitely did want the stoppage, but Albright's tough. He doesn't get stopped. Um, Albright, I mean, he hits hard, Albright, and you can bloody hear the thump in his shots when he does land, but it was very limited today for when he actually did land. He found it very difficult to catch KEYSHAWN Davis, and I thought KEYSHAWN was pulling back, countering really nicely, and dictating the fight behind that jab to the body. It was body work from KEYSHAWN, which I think was really key in winning this fight. I think Albright again stood his ground, kept on coming forward, but he couldn't land his shots. He couldn't really get any offense off. I thought KEYSHAWN was just completely outworking him. KEYSHAWN was all over him, and Albright, was trying to make it messy, and that's what he always does. That was the game plan going to the fight. Make it messy because he was never going to be able to box with KEYSHAWN. But KEYSHAWN definitely leveled up a lot from their first fight. Definitely, I thought the first fight was competitive. KEYSHAWN definitely won. Obviously, it was overruled a no contest, but whatever. KEYSHAWN won. And then, yeah, I think he was just a completely different level today. KEYSHAWN's up the levels. Albright's still the same kind of fighter. He hasn't really adapted since. And again, with the style of Albright, it makes sense. With KEYSHAWN, he's still very young. He's improving every single time we see him. And it was a good statement performance from him because Albright's no mug in there at all. He's no mug, and he Albright is awkward, and he's proved it every single time. He definitely proved it in the first fight with KEYSHAWN, and he's awkward because of how messy he makes it. He's a very strong guy, rough guy, but KEYSHAWN, I thought, kept it long, kept it behind the jab, and was countering him nicely with the jab, bringing in the straight right hand very well. And I thought when KEYSHAWN had Albright on the ropes, he let his hands go well. And Albright felt the power of KEYSHAWN, and I thought was very wary of him at times, a lot more wary of him than what he was in that first fight. And it's because KEYSHAWN was a lot more skilled, and the timing this time round was much better. And it was just the counters which I think really started to get to Albright, and he was feeling that power of KEYSHAWN, and he was hesitant to come in. At times he was hesitant to make it messy, and at times I think, if anything, when Albright did get to make it messy, he made it a bit too messy to be able to get any work off. He was smothering his work a lot when he was able to get something going. And yeah, KEYSHAWN completely outclassed him there, completely outclassed him. And it's a good statement there from KEYSHAWN Davis. It's going to be really interesting to see what's next for him now. I mean, who does he fight? Who does he fight now? It's I think it's interesting. I mean, if we look at the rankings, because I think he's got a good few options, I think. I do think he's got a good few options. The division is interesting. I mean, we look at it here. Let's get it up. I should have had this up earlier. Should have had it up. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, right. So, possible fights which could be interesting for him. The Gary Russell one, definitely. The Gary Russell one, I think, is one that many people want to see now. There's Dalton Smith as one of the other champions. There's the Pitbull Cruz fight, which could be there. He's now mandatory for Shakur Stevenson. Does he want to go with that fight? Yeah, I don't think they're going to put him in with Shakur yet. I can't see that happening. Alberto Pulo could be interesting for KEYSHAWN. I reckon he wins that. I reckon, he beats the majority of the guys. He doesn't beat Shakur. I don't think they'd do that. I think he'd beat Dalton Smith. I think he beats Gary Russell. Although Gary Russell has been looking all right recently, though. He has been looking good. It's good that he is getting more active now. I think that is a good fight. I think it's a good fight. It wouldn't surprise me if they stick him in there with an Oscar Durate, next. But I do want to see a Gary Russell fight. I do want to see a Shakur Stevenson fight at some point, but that's not going to happen next. But yeah, very, very, very interesting stuff for KEYSHAWN. It's a statement made, in my opinion, that win over Albright. A statement made, showing, he is miles above that kind of level, and that he is in the elite in the division. That's what he's shown. Okay, Brian Norman getting a comeback win over Josh Wagner. Yeah, second round stoppage. I don't know what the referee was playing at in this fight at all. It should have been over after the first knockdown. Shocking stuff. And then the fact after the second knockdown, he called time because Wagner was complaining about his shoulder. Like, just wave the fight off at that point. The fight wasn't over because Wagner got injured. It's simply because he was out of it completely. He was completely out of it there. It was absolutely shocking refereeing. Absolutely awful stuff, to be honest. But yeah, he's back, Brian Norman is, and Haney I mean, what Haney was able to do to him, Jesus Christ. I think what Haney did to him, people forgot how, oh God, people forgot how good Brian Norman actually was. And I think it was very important that he got a knockout like that. And I thought he showed his skills really well in the first round. It was just very jab active. He didn't really bring in the backhand at all in that first round. It was just, a good double jab, lead hand, very good with that lead hook. I thought it was a good disciplined first round from Brian Norman. He wasn't chasing anything. And he eventually, when he caught Wagner with his best shot, Wagner went down, and Brian Norman showed the levels. Brian Norman showed the levels and shows why he is still one of the top guys in the divisions. And let's be honest here, he's the second best in the division, in my opinion. Haney's the best. Then it's Brian Norman. I think Brian Norman would beat Ryan Garcia. I think he beats Rowley. I think he beats Lewis Crocker. He beats all three of the other champions. Without a doubt in my mind, he beats all three of the other champions. You then look at the other guys at the top of the division. Jack Catterall, Norman beats him. Conor Benn, Norman beats him. Giasov, Norman beats him. Liam Paro, Norman beats him. He's the second best guy in the division. He's the second best guy at welterweight. Give him a title shot next. Give him Rowley next. I think that's the fight that has to be made. They're doing Garcia and Ben. Fair enough. Brian Norman and Rowley. That's what's got to be made now. Rowley's not seeming active right now whatsoever. Given the Brian Norman fight, Brian Norman would absolutely batter him, in my opinion. So that's what they got to do. They're doing Liam Paro and Crocker. So Rowley's the other champ. I don't see any other fight that would make sense for Brian Norman right now. They're doing Castro and Giasov. Yeah, Rowley and Brian Norman. It all adds up to that.